So dancehall in a me can't come out me born and grow Jamaica pat what me chat.
You feel like that beat up your chat, you know. Hey boy, you feel like that jump, you know. My chat to the tail.
Yes, dancehall is my place and you can't stop me from going.
You know worth it, and we waste our life and we waste our time, brother.
Subscriber, wagwan, big up on yourself, my people. What I deal with, hope everybody good in there. See what I say, I don't know all the thing, but respect and manners goes out to one and all. But from when I see where I want to know, so we have a couple things to talk about. So when I see where Vybz Kartel have serious advice for the youths. I don't know Vybz Kartel is back home after 13 years in prison, my people. Is now a free man, so you don't know him come out and speak as it relates to the youth. So stay tuned for that. We also have a reaction from MAVADO as it relates to Vybz Kartel freedom. Outside of that, my people, would I say where, you know, a lot of different arguments go around the internet and so forth. You know, where some of the speech where make me feel like it's, you know, an insult to people's intelligence. So when we are going to go through the court proceedings and see exactly what was said, you know, that led to Vybz Kartel freedom, and see if, you know, there is any glitch or anything that anyone does not understand. So stay tuned for that, my people. We also have Ricky Trooper in other topics, people. Seemingly almost fight with a selector in a St. Thomas, people. So stay tuned for that. We also have, you know, former dancehall queen, Lady Star, who is now a Christian minister, Marian Hall, speaking as it relates to dancehall and possibly returning to dancehall to do, you know, dancehall gospel music, people. So stay tuned for that as well. And do the right thing, subscribe to the channel, and also click the notification bell. So let's get into it, my people. Yes, my people. Yeah, man, as you know, Vybz Kartel is free, and within a couple of hours, a whole heap of different things are going on, people. So when I say, yeah, man, whole heap of viral videos, whole heap of things where Kartel are doing and so forth, where pique a lot of people interest. But one of the main things where me see, when me have to pick out for talk about and highlight people, where a lot of bloggers probably not interested for highlight at this moment. But we have to highlight it because it's very important. If there is anything else where Kartel do it is not of any importance to the general public, I think this is of major importance, people. And this is a speech where I'm saying towards the youth after getting released. So see what I say? So, you know, we see where several media houses were there, and, you know, one of the media representatives asked Kartel what was it like in a prison and so forth, and he would have sent a strong message to the younger ones, the youths them will look up to Kartel, and the youths them in the street. And this is what he had to say, my people.
No, man, that's what was it like being inside? Hey, that's Hey, that's man. I'm gonna tell the youth them to stay out of crime, brethren. You know worth it, and we waste our life and we waste our time, brother.
So yeah, my people, that is Vybz Kartel. Let it be known to the youths them that your prison life is not a joke thing. You see what I say? I don't know, gimmicks thing, I don't know, capping thing. You see what I say? Yeah, man, the man I make the youths them know, say, here, our brother, this is not somewhere you should aspire to go. You see, it's a waste of time, waste of your life. You know, you do 13 years of your life, you did have your youths them where young youths and young toddlers them. By the time you forward a big man them. You see it, and that would be like even in a Vybz Kartel case. When him go away, you know, liquor Addy and liquor vibes, them are liquor youth, and by the time him forward back, the whole of them are big man and so forth. So he miss out a huge chunk of growing him youth them and for himself and so forth and whatever. Even though, you know, he would have the resources and so forth to make sure say them go through normally, but you don't know fatherly presence is still important and so he might advise like the younger youth within him fan base, and youths when I will say, yo brother, you know, it not worth it. So if you feel like say a joke thing or whatever, me feel like Kartel are the right man if you tell us say, yo, Bill, and try to make some money and get the girls them, and put your focus on a positive outlook and don't try to find yourself in the system, because it's an easy thing for going about and the hardest thing for come out. Ask anybody where involved with the system and so forth. you know. So that is a good and a great advice, and one of the most important advice from Cartel in my view, my people. So we definitely had to highlight it, you see it. And we also would see where MAVADO, you know, passed through and basically left him respect as it relates to Vybz Cartel freedom. You see it, we see where the singer made a post on his Instagram and a welcome Vybz Cartel home and so forth. You see it? And you know, them type of thing they make me say, yo, me kinda hold the right mates, because a lot of people would make it seems like, you know, if you just forward out here and just a hold a balance, you do something wrong and so forth. And I look on it and I say, the likes of MAVADO was like one of the main rival of Vybz Cartel. So if him can come out and say, you know, welcome home Vybz Cartel and so forth and whatever, and him know Cartel and him go through whatever, I don't see why a fan, you know, can just hold them orders and just know say whatever and whatever. But that is that as it relates to MAVADO. And tell me what you think about Vybz Cartel and his message to the youths, my people. Make we move on. So next up, people, before we get down to the breakdown of what proceeded in our court as it relates to Vybz Cartel thing, we are going, you know, pass through a couple other topics we are going to dance all. So we see where Ricky Chupa, as me tell you people, seemingly catch up in a big argument that almost led to a fight with a selector in a center mass. You see, it seems as if it's bad to be exact, my people. So when I say, yeah man, I don't know what exactly caused the argument initially, but you know, more that hear people say it's like, you know, the selector a clash, but nobody now clash him and so forth. And you know, Ricky Chupa is there demanding respect and so forth. I don't know if him play a song where Ricky Chupa not like, or him say something on the talker phone where Ricky Chupa not like, or whatever. But Ricky Chupa say is a little young selector and him not pay no dues. You see what I say? So him not take no disrespect from no guy that pay no dues or never did anything in our music. But take a listen at this, my people.
My own, you see, somewhere I'm going to, you know, first man and son of your blood clot, man, they come this. I'm telling you, let's fuck up this, alright, and anything, yeah, choose to play this. You want to want to play me, no song to play this, and I'm going to mash up that, you know.
Why you come to blood clot? Fuck you just like that, nanny style.
Feel like that beat up your blood clot, you know. Hey boy. I feel like I'm gonna beat you up, turn up. My chat to me, turn up. Thump you up, turn up. Beat you up, my chat to me, pussy. Alright, I'm sure respect to man, not pussy. We have been on news. You've been on news.
I idiot that man. Fool man.
What are you doing on news?
Watch a fool man. Watch an honest man.
I won't come and wear my come clash.
But a clash, my clash. You see nobody a clash here, so? Don't you?
I am in the can. Everyone talk to me respect, pussy. Show me respect.
People, that is Ricky Chupa, you know, I say, yo, him feel like him that thump on the selector and so forth. Chupa, I remember say, I held that, you know, my young boy thump you, dog, you know. So I say people. However, fun and joke aside still, me glad say it never get out of control and no fight actually go on still. So I say, yeah man, we not condone no fighting because you don't know that can lead to another thing and another thing. And next thing you hear say, either the parties put themselves in a trouble and so forth. So I say, but you don't know how the thing go, as me say. Leave on the thoughts and tell me on the thing still, you see it? Yeah man, but me feel like Chupa a bit too elderly enough if you go in a fist fight with young boy, you see it? Yeah man, so, you know, I know say mind may be willing, but probably the limbs them now operate like 10, 15, 20 years ago. So I feel like him need to be careful. But anyways, people, to each his own still. Tell me one thing. And we are going to move on. We see where Mama Sa go so book up and decide say, yo, she will discuss, you know, coming back into dancehall and so forth. I want to take a listen at what Mama Sa is saying quickly and then we proceed for move on, people. So check it out.
Yes, dancehall is my place, and you can't stop me from going there. You could have twist it and turn it some more. You think dancehall is a sinful place, right? It is a sinful place. I used to sing some dirty song in there, but then you have people who look at, what's his name again? Wayne Marshall. You remember that song? When he just did his song, you know, a church invited me and him and others. That man, I rate the man of God there. You don't have to baptize to come in him church, you know, in bring. And I tell you, when Wayne was singing the song, I see when the presence of God touched him, I see where he was quenching. If he had just let it go that day, I tell you. Yeah? So me left dancehall, take up the pulpit. Me choose God over what? Foolishness. Foolishness meaning dirty song. I don't want a crown. That's why when I went to New York and I went to Montego Bay, what the lyrics was? Me no come here so for idle. Me no come here so for dancehall title. Me come here so for preach up the gospel. So tell the demon them me no frightened. Amen. I'm not looking for accolades. Yeah. I was just called to get big award in New York, and I turn it down. Amen. I turn them down all the time. All of fame, this, that, and Icon awards and this, that. I'm going to preach the word of God. Demons, if you don't want me in there, sorry for you, I will be coming. Yeah. Bless the Lord. So this year I had was to go away. Yes. And do this. Yes. So dancehall in a me can't come out. Me born and grow Jamaica, patwa me chat. You can't stop it. On your own dancehall on your platform. Go on, yeah. Yeah. Once I'm not going for anything more than go do the work of God. When I was going recently, them said them all kind of things. And what happened? Listen, I had was to go away and secretly do this one.
That is Minister Mariana, aka Lady Star, you know. When me hear Lady Star talk them thing, I may ever have to laugh, you know. Because it was hilarious to me. Because first thing first, you know, it seems as if she would have just come to the realization what we'd have said from morning. You know, me think because she made a decision where she said she done with dancehall totally because a devil playground and one bag of thing. And we as fans, I say, we don't really think that is a good idea. Now, me understand she wanting to go to church, she wanting to be a Christian and so forth. I may respect that to the fullest. You see what I say? But I am saying that I don't think that should have make you make the decision so drastic with it, where make it seem if you even sing clean dancehall music, something wrong with it. That was the point where we make from get-go. You see, nobody wants to see any lady where reach up in a them age or behave certain way or whatever. So when we say, you know, at certain point in time, you would have cool down after certain things and so forth. You see, but we never expect the cool down for so drastic where, you know, we can't even hear certain songs again where not even having no curse word and so forth. Because all heap of different song ladies start sing, not just slack song, you see it. So that was what we said initially. You see it, and now it seems as if she had come to that same realization, people. So, but we shall see, because when she attacked, she did a preview a new song, say that she does a rap and so forth. And clearly she has said, you know, she have forward back in a dancehall because dancehall is not for them. I don't know who exactly she attacked, but you don't know Mama's shady body, you know. What is it about accolades? And but you know what, people, left that alone. Make we move on. Tell me what you think about what Lady Star is saying, my people. You see it. Make we move on. We say, people, when it comes down to the court proceedings, you know, more just we go through it, and whoever interested can take back another listen and we can give a few perspective based on what we hear. Because I see some argument around the internet. You know, ones want to make it look like, say, oh, a links cartel them have make the judge make that ruling there. Or man PO them way, you know, the judge make the wrong decision and so forth. You know, even though it's not the majority or so forth, but we see a significant amount of people. I say that, people. So, you know, we would want to listen to what led to the ruling that was made, people. And we can see if we have an understanding and some clarity to the whole thing. You see, because I think a lot of people just, jump and fast forward to the decision of freedom without even listening what the people them say. So make we just take with time and go through it like how, things kind of simmer down and everybody would have know the results. So check this out, people.
The third jury incident came to light on 13 March 2014, the last day of the trial judge's summing up of the case to the jury. Following the report of possible jury misconduct, the trial judge convened a hearing in chambers and informed counsel on both sides that he had been made aware that a juror, who we call Juror X, attempted to bribe another member of the jury with an offer of $500,000 to decide the case in a particular way. The trial judge and counsel on both sides questioned the forewoman of the jury in chambers. The forewoman informed them that Juror X had spoken to all the jurors and encouraged them to free the appellants without regard to the evidence. There was no evidence to connect any of the appellants with the activities of Juror X. Faced with the possibility of having to abort the trial judge heard submissions from the Director of Public Prosecutions, the DPP, and defense counsel. Despite defense counsel's resistance, the trial judge decided to continue with the summing up and handed the case over to the jury that evening. The jury deliberated for over 3 hours and by a majority of 10-1, convicted the appellants of the deceased's murder on the same day. The appellants were each sentenced by the trial judge to imprisonment for life at hard labor, with the stipulation that the appellants Campbell and Jones should serve a minimum of 25 years in prison before becoming eligible for parole, and the appellants Palmer and St. John should serve a minimum of 35 and 30 years, respectively. The appellants were unsuccessful in their appeal to this court and appealed to the Privy Council. The Privy Council allowed the appellants' appeal and quashed their convictions on the basis that the trial judge's treatment of the third incident of jury misconduct was a material irregularity in the course of the trial, giving rise to a miscarriage of justice. In the Privy Council's view, the trial judge should have done more to investigate the third incident of jury misconduct and not rely solely on the forewoman's account. Furthermore, allowing Juror X to continue to serve on the jury was fatal to the safety of the convictions and was an infringement of the appellant's fundamental right to a fair hearing by an independent and impartial court under Section 16 of the Constitution of Jamaica. Lastly, the fact that the prosecution was prepared to waive the irregularities in the trial did not absolve the trial judge of his responsibility to ensure a fair trial. In all the circumstances, the trial judge ought to have discharged the jury and ended the trial in order to protect the integrity of the system of trial by jury. Against this background, the court has to determine whether the interests of justice require that the appellants be ordered to face a new trial, or whether judgments and verdicts of acquittal should be entered. The court starts with the Constitution, which provides that upon conviction, a person should not be tried for a second time unless a court of superior jurisdiction, which is the appellate court, orders that there be a retrial.
People, taking a little break just to explain what we hear so far. You see, so according to what they are saying, the breaches of the appellant constitutional rights are that cause the main trouble in the first place. You see what I say? Yeah, man. And when me hear and listen that good, me say based on when me see a lot of people are reason and talk about who do this and who do that and whatever, me feel like say the prosecution and the trial judge is to be blamed highly in these people. And me not think me see a lot of people blaming them. As I say, it's like them are show the blame everywhere else except where it go. Because regardless of who trouble this and who trouble that and who try to take this and take that, the top line of the whole thing is that it should have started over from them fine, say the whole thing compromise. But ones that say, oh, you know, we reach too far, so it can't start over. You see, we may say, we run the place, so we make the ruling and it have to go as how we say. And that worked for a little while, but you know, we that see where them clearly, cartel team would have clearly say, no, something wrong with that ruling here. So we have to go appeal it and, you know, get back the thing and see if we can get a shot at freedom, people. And wanna see how it go. But I could continue listen.
The Constitution did not set out the circumstances in which the court should order a retrial. It is to case law that the court looks to determine what are the principles applicable to the question of whether there should be a retrial. The court looked at all the applicable legal principles governing the question of a new trial, which was set out most authoritatively by the Privy Council in the case of Reed against the Queen. We will not state the citation at this time, but that is in writing. The court also looks at other principles emanating from subsequent cases since Reed, and we have an amalgamated list of those factors. There are 12 factors that the court has considered. The seriousness and prevalence of the offense, that's one. 2, the strength of the prosecution's case. 3, the availability of the prosecution's witnesses and exhibits. 4, the availability of the defense witnesses. 5, delay and whether a retrial can be facilitated within a reasonable time. 6, the time, financial costs, expense, and impact on the court's resources of a new trial if one is ordered. 7, the ordeal to be faced by the appellants if a new trial is ordered. 8, the impact of prejudicial publicity on the fairness of a new trial if ordered. 9, whether the new trial would give the prosecution an unfair advantage. 10, changes in the Jury Act. 11, potential legislative changes in the sentence for murder. 12, the possibility of prejudice arising from the mandatory minimum sentence and minimum term before eligibility for parole. We have considered all the factors governing the court's determination of whether a new trial should be ordered, and have given due regard to all the material, submissions, and evidence presented by the appellants and the Crown. We commence by stating that the egregious nature and seriousness of the offense in this case is beyond argument. So too is the prevalence of the offense of murder in Jamaica. We make bold to say that the features of this case bear every hallmark of a deliberate attack on and barefaced defiance of law and order, involving allegations of transactions relating to illegal firearms, a killing in respect of which the body of the deceased has not been recovered, or should we say an alleged killing in which the body of the deceased has not been recovered, and interference with a crime scene while it was under the control of the police. The court is therefore satisfied that the nature, seriousness, and prevalence of the alleged offense in this case are powerful factors that weigh in favor of a retrial.
Yeah, my people, back at it for a little while again. So, you know, based on in terms of making the determination if they are to be retried or you know if them let them go people out several factors the court would have clearly state out. You see what me I say? Yeah man, like the seriousness of the murder and the prevalence. You see what me I say? Yeah man, the strength of the case, the availability of witnesses, you know, start or retrial in starting at a reasonable time, the cost and the impact and the court resources and them thing the people, fairness of a new trial, potential legislative, you know, changes in the charges for murder and so forth. You see what I say? Yeah man, them would have explained stuff in it where would have warranted a retrial as well, people. You see it, and you know, those stuff are stuff like you know, the murder, them would have say, yo, that is a serious offense. As we know, people, common sense tell with that. And also with the prevalence side, them would have say, a whole heap of that go on to Jamaica. And that is without a question. You see, so that is something where we can agree to. However, you know, them would have also give a couple of reasons as to why them think the retrial would not have been fair, people. So, check this out.
The court, however, finds that there are several equally powerful factors which, when combined, militate against ordering a new trial. In summary, these factors are the insufficient and inadequate account by the prosecution for the availability of its witnesses and trial exhibits. Witnesses and trial exhibits relied upon by the appellants, which tended to support their defense at their first trial, are now unavailable or cannot be accounted for. 3. The appellant's trial in the Supreme Court was complex, lasting 64 days, and utilized a significant share of the court and the appellant's resources. Therefore, the time, financial costs, expense, and impact on the court's resources, as well as other cases in the queue awaiting trial, we find that this is significant and it militates against a new trial. 4. The psychological, financial, and medical effect that a new trial would likely have on the appellants who have already spent 13 years in custody, which is demonstrated by medical and other affidavit evidence. We look at the medical problems relating to the appellant Palmer, which came through medical reports that stand unchallenged by the Crown and therefore speak to declining health in the penal institution. The court looks at the lapse of time between the commission of the alleged offense and the likely time in which a new trial would take place, which would, in our estimation, be at least 15 years. We find that to be inordinate. 6. The unjustifiable interference with the appellant's constitutional rights to a fair hearing within a reasonable time under Section 16 of the Constitution of Jamaica, and the potential for that breach or interference, we should say, continuing if a new trial is ordered. We look at the potential prejudice to at least 2 of the appellants who, if convicted after a new trial, would be required to serve a longer term of imprisonment before eligibility for parole than that which was originally imposed upon them after their first trial due to the operation of the statutory mandatory minimum for the offense of murder. The court looks at other factors which it did not see swinging the pendulum either way, and our judgment will explain it all. We find that the submissions regarding pretrial publicity did not assist the appellants. We find that pretrial publicity is such that you would have to prove that it is impossible to obtain a fair trial. And that question is one for the trial court. What the court did find coming out of the issue of pretrial publicity is if the mechanisms have to be employed as the Crown had argued, that would add to the delay of the proceedings. As we have said, we have looked at all the other factors, but we find by now, having weighed everything in the balance, that the countervailing, the weight is against a new trial. Our judgment will explain everything in depth, but as we say, this is for the decision for you to understand what the court has done. Having regard to all the considerations the court has taken into account, we conclude that the interests of justice do not require a new trial to be ordered for the appellants, and we therefore make the following order. Judgments and verdicts of acquittal are entered in relation to the appellants.
Now, my people, just like how they would have pointed out that one of the factors, like, you know, the nature of the crime would have warranted a retrial because of the nature of the whole thing and how serious it is, people. They would have equally, you know, give some factors as to why a retrial would have been unfair, people, you see. So, you know, they would have state that, you know, the availability of witnesses, you see, initially them started out with a number of, you know, witnesses and exhibit, and when them draw back for them will either miss up or them can't find them on one bag of things, my people. That is a major factor where I go get trouble in the whole thing. Also, them would speak on the length of the time of the trial and how it would impact the court resources and all of them thing, the people. Plus others where are await trial. You see, them a say, yo, others where await them thing and so forth. You can't skip the line or cut them for tolerate them money. You see it, people. Also, them would consider a lot of other things, including the psychological, the financial aspect of the whole thing, time spent where the man them spend already. You see what I say? Also, them would consider health factors and so forth, and also new laws and so forth. You see it, because them would have said two of the man would have to serve an extended amount of time based on laws that change up and all of them things there. So when they really put all of them there, and compare them to, you know, just say your retrial and so forth. You see, there is a lot of things that, you know, would have outweigh going to a retrial, my people. You see it. So at the end of the day, me not really think, based on when I listen, as me say, people that out there have painted like say there is some links or PR or whatever. I highly disagree with that, and I feel like it's disrespectful to people who have sense in a Jamaica. You see what I say? Yeah, man. And we in a Jamaica enough to know when something is corrupted and when something no make sense or whatever. You see it, you have a lot of people where not really sensible, but you have a lot of people where are Jamaicans where have sense. So I don't know all the things still, people, if we don't find no problem with the ruling, but as me say, I think the ruling was fair, and me feel like say this show say and give a glimmer of hope in terms of, you know, Jamaica system doing the right thing as it relates to justice. You see it, because at the end of the day, boy, if it did go the other way, them would have really have to have a good explanation as to why them rule that way, with all of them complications there would point into the other direction, my people. But do the right thing still, enough, people, and subscribe to the channel and also click the notification bell. You see it, and leave a comment and leave a like and subscribe and all of them things there. I will leave other little things. So we catch you in another one. Bless up on yourself. I'm out.